Hun Science, Hun Science, let's do Hun Science. Should I stop singing? I think I should. It's time for Hun Science, in case you couldn't tell it by my angelic voice singing Hun Science. Part 2 or 3? Well, it's about Hun Science. Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Christina. I'm glad you're here. You might have guessed it. We're talking about Hun Science. I missed those weird non-scientific experiments that the Huns called science. It's pseudoscience. That's why it is Hun Science. And I have yet again a nice collection of stupid stuff Huns in MLMs will do. And even to this very day, they think that this is good content that would convince us from buying into their MLM. Some of this content is older, some is not, so let's jump right into this. Okay, let's not jump right into this. If you've watched the second Hun Science video, this could be the fourth video on the channel. Anyway, I can do an entire Hun Science playlist. I will link it up here if you're interested. But in one of the videos, I featured somebody, person called Mona, who was in one of the MLMs that were very popular at the time, and she worked in the MLM's lab. Now, the MLM is kind of downsizing, if you will, and they do terminate a lot of their people, and Mona also got terminated. I shunned her from my last video because she was not really doing a great job. It was rather weird. I mean, she was doing Hun Science, but she was really clumsy and not to the point. I decided I'm going to give Mona a second chance. If this is interesting to you, wait until the end. Mona is going to make a return, and she's going to do an experiment with fire. And I decided I'm not doing these things anymore because with my frizzy hair, I'm actually an endangered species when it comes to stepping close to fire. So stay until the end if this is of interest to you. But let's get into the video now. Let's go to the oily MLM. Let's go to Young Living.
You want to know if the essential oil actually works? Let's do a little experiment. So I'm a homeschool mom, and this is going to be part of our experiment today. I have some fresh white bread that I made yesterday. It is a loaf of Amish white bread, and it's so delicious. No preservatives, nothing gross in it. So I'm going to take a slice and cut it in half. Rub my hands all over both slices. On one slice, it's going to be our control. I'm going to put it in a bag and put it in my cabinet for a couple days. And then on the other slice, I'm going to put a couple drops of Thieves essential oil. So there's like 4 drops on there. I'm gonna put that in a bag for control on this one. And then in a few days, we're gonna see the level of mold that grew on the control piece of bread and the Thieves piece of bread. And I'll report back.
Are you already on the edge of your seats because you want to know how this experiment ends? Well, you will have to wait a second because she has lengthy text that accompanies this Hun Science. I'm not going to go through this text because it is long and it is boring, but I will have it on the side so you can pause if you want to read it. She explains the history of Thieves oil from Young Living and that the Black Plague was all over Europe and killed millions of people, but some people, really lovely creatures, they were able to rob those who died of the plague because they rubbed themselves in some sort of herbs and essential oils. And that is how Gary Young discovered the power of the Thieves oil. He called it Thieves because they stole from dead people. And it's a concoction of different herbs in essential oil form. So that's the short version of this, that people who were knowledgeable in herbs were able to survive the Black Plague because they knew about herbs. So to recap and that we all understand this experiment correctly, she puts 1 piece of Amish bread without all of the nasty stuff that she did the day before in a plastic bag after she rubbed her hands all over it. Then she closed it, and another piece of bread with some drop of Young Living's Thieves oil went into another plastic bag. She also rubbed her hands over this one, and then she closes this one too to show if Thieves essential oil actually works against mold. Thieves oil is a combination of clove, lemon, cinnamon bark, eucalyptus, radiata, and rosemary essential oil that fills any space with a rich and spicy aroma. Young Living says to this oil that it's good for inhalation if you drop a few drops onto your pulse points and breathe in the deeply cleansing aromas. For beauty, if you add a couple of drops to a neutral shampoo and conditioner for a sweet and spicy aromatic hair treat. Sounds horrible. A massage if you dilute it and apply it to the bottom of your feet for a soothing and grounding experience. And as a perfume, yet again, the least thing I would do, to wear it as a perfume, you enjoy a deeply uplifting and invigorating scent. Nothing from Young Living's own website says that it's about the prevention of mold growth. So I still don't understand what she means when she says we're going to take a look. This is an experiment. I'm a homeschool mom. And we're going to rub this oil over one bread to see if it actually works. I know, I'm questioning these things and many times you shouldn't, but what is the actual idea? Why do we do this test? Young Living doesn't say anything about mold prevention. But let's take a look at the update, what the breads look like after a couple of days. Are you interested? Are you excited? Because I am. I mean, I already know the outcome because I already collected all of this footage. But I'm going to show it to you as well.
Quick little update for you guys on our thieves science experiment. You can see the control has mold growing all over it. And then here's the one that we added a couple drops of thieves essential oil to. No mold. This one is just absolutely covered. So crazy.
After a couple of days, she doesn't specifically say how many days, she took a look again at the bread with the thieves oil and at the one without the oil. And the one where she says she didn't add any oil, was moldy and the other one wasn't. She doesn't mention if both were in those bags for the same time or if one had more progress already on this, but let's assume that she's actually taking a look at these at the same time. My first question would be, why do you test for mold? Why? Mold is a fungus. If we connect this ludicrous bread experiment to humans, although there is no correlation because humans and bread are not the same things, humans typically don't get fungus infections. That is what I have to assume that she wanted to prove when she says, hey, we're gonna do an experiment with thieves oil to see if this actually does what it's supposed to do. We don't know what it is, but apparently to prevent mold on bread. So if I'm making the connection, is it about something that is beneficial in her mind for humans as well? It is something that would prevent mold growing on humans. Humans don't necessarily have a lot of fungal infections. Maybe on your skin if you are affected, if you have an autoimmune disease, but I would say that that is not typical for most people on planet Earth. But if you have severe multiple fungal infections, then your immune system is pretty much non-existent and you're immune compromised and you shouldn't treat yourself with Young Living essential oils. So why are we testing for mold on bread? And then with the outcome that she shows of the two types of bread here, the thieves oil could prevent or rather slow down mold from growing on bread. I mean, in a couple of days, I would have liked to see what that type of bread looks like, if it really prevented mold from growing or if it just slowed it down. And in my opinion, because she used an oil, an essential oil, this experiment, as ludicrous as it is, it would have been more interesting to see her test this with other oils as well. Essential oil on one, olive oil on the other oils, sunflower oil, for example, because these types of oils, in my opinion, likely do the same thing. The oil creates a moisture barrier between the bread and the air so that the bread doesn't mold that quickly. But if you put bread into a plastic bag, that is the worst way you can store bread. It will get moldy either way, no matter what you pour on top of it, but it might slow the process down. Not that it does anything in correlation to humans or proves anything that thieves oil actually prevents illnesses or diseases, or that it's more than a story that people wrap themselves into herbs and that is why they were able to survive pest and cholera in the 15th century. But the Huns have made horrible, horrible health claims in Young Living already. So all of these insane health claims, she's not specifically speaking about these, but that is what I have to believe she is insinuating, because because it is so essential for Young Living, for Gary Young, the founder of this horrible, horrible company, and also the huns that are currently in the company, that their oils can prevent or heal everything. And that is rather shameful. So this is the first experiment about somebody pouring pricey Young Living thieves oil on a piece of bread to slow down the molding process, which is not helpful for humans. And Young Living doesn't even promote the thieves oil on their website like this. In the next video, we will take a look at Monat's heat protectant and what it does to bread. We're staying with bread, all right? So there is somebody rubbing Monat heat protectant on a piece of bread, on a slice of bread. That is so wasteful. And then she's toasting it, and then the spot that had the heat protectant on is less toasted than the other part. And that is why she proves it is important to use heat protection. It's important to use Monat heat protection, and you show that on a piece of bread. I am personally a fan of... I should move back into the middle. Hurrah! I am personally a fan of recreating these experiments, but I refuse to do that with food because I hate to waste food. But Mona will do an experiment and will recreate one of the experiments at the end. So stay tuned for that, but not with food. That is really something that I don't want to do. If you put Monat heat protectant cream on a piece of bread and then you toast it, it will show up less toasted in that spot. And that is her experiment. And the conclusion is that Monat heat protectant is good. It's weird, huh? I mean, we're yet again comparing human hair to bread, but it's almost as if moisture on bread toasts the toast less. Would very likely not be any different if you put water on that spot of bread, as if the starch in bread reacts different to moisture and dryness. That in itself would be an interesting biological experiment, or a chemical experiment, if you will, but it doesn't show that Monat protectant is any better for bread than any other fluid. You could pour soup on one of those spots or one of those freaking essential oils, and they would very likely do the same thing, because starch, which is in bread, reacts differently to moisture than it does to dryness. That doesn't prove anything about Monat's heat protectant, or that it's better than any other heat protectant, because bread and hair are not the same substance. Yet again, in this experiment, therefore also holds no relevance to prove that Monat's heat protectant on human hair does what it does on bread, because it was on bread. But yet again, this was a non-experiment. It was, Hun Science, truly. Let's dive into the science of water, and we're truly talking about water, because now it is time for the Kangen Huns to shine when they show us why Kangen water is so superior. Somebody asks us to stop drinking dead water. And then she's putting a thingy in bottles. And she's insinuating that all the water from all of the bottled waters is dead water, except for Kangen, which has living water. First of all, dead water, what does that mean? It's not explained there anyway. Stop drinking dead water. Do you want to drink water that is alive, with sharks in it, fish, water insects? Ugh. I wouldn't want that. Kangen water machines are really, really pricey machines that alkalize your water, and they are from the multi-level marketing company Enagic. Kangen water is the result of what this machine produces. It is alkaline water. So the Kangen water machines, they will alkalize water. That's it. Alkaline water is water that is slightly less acidic than regular drinking water. And you might have heard the most hilarious and the most upsetting health claims. Some say that Kangen's alkaline water can help regulate your pH level, and therefore it can slow the aging process, and it can prevent chronic diseases like cancer. I am not a medical expert, I'm not a biologist, I'm not a chemist, but Basic knowledge about alkaline water, acidic water, neutral water tells me that this is bogus and these are really unsubstantiated health claims. That's why we find ourselves in a video that is called Hun Science Part 3 or 4. It is critical to understand that the pH levels in your blood cannot be changed drastically through a diet, including drinking alkaline water. That is not a thing. That is not possible. That is false. And I find it rather concerning that she wants to drink alive water. Maybe she's from Australia and she's used to sharks really close to the coast, or to Florida or to California or wherever sharks are. They're not in Germany. They're not in the Baltic Sea. They're also not in the North Sea. But why would you want to drink alive water? I like my dead water. I drink it. The next video is also from a Kangen Hun, and I will have to pitch the audio for copyright reasons because there is music playing in the background, but let's see.
Today I'm going to show you what Kangen water does to this tea bag compared to normal water. I'm going to show you what tap water does. Doesn't penetrate the tea bag at all. Nothing. Let's pour the Kangen water. Already penetrating it. Have a look at that. Does anyone want cold tea? Now can you imagine what this water would do to the inside of your body compared to this?
This was blow your mind. I would appreciate it if the science Hun would mind grammar. Doing so way, please, right? Make a luck. This did not blow my mind. My very first question is, why was that kitchen so messy? What was soaking in that sink? Did you also use pricey Kangen water? What was that? Clean up before you film. You knew you wanted to film. Clean up. The cold tap water does not penetrate the tea bag, but Kangen water does. The first water was still clear after 2 minutes. That was the one with the tap water. And the second one with a Kangen water was not. And my question yet again is, what does that prove? He also asked at the end of his superior content in his messy kitchen, imagine what that water does to the inside of your body compared to this. I would say that both water very likely hydrate your body. And tea bags are not comparable to human bodies. So what else does this water do to the inside of your body? Nothing. Alkaline water is really just slightly acidic water compared to regular tap, compared to regular drinking water. And the alkaline water might have penetrated the tea bag faster here than the tap water. But if you let this sit for longer, then very likely the color of the other glass will change as well, and it will release the cold tea. But that doesn't mean that the Kangen water, the more alkaline water, has any health benefits over the normal tap water. It is painfully misleading to insinuate that Kangen water has health benefits over tap water because you poured one on a tea bag and it stayed clear and the other one didn't. I mean, use water, important, yes. Stay hydrated, that's important, but you don't need alkaline water to do so. Alkaline water is not superior to neutral, basic tap water. There is no proof that it is. And Luke, clean up your kitchen. Okay, messy action, I get it, but a messy kitchen, no. And now we're going to watch the final Hun Science experiments, what hair oils are really doing to your hair. Ditch the flammable products and make the switch to non-toxic hair care. You will thank me later. There are a lot of flame emojis, and that is why I asked Mona to return, because I would like her to handle fire and not me. Let's take a look at this experiment and let's see what Mona has to recreate.
Okay, let's see what happens when we put heat to these 4 popular brand hair oils. First up, Moroccan oil. Yikes. That was a close one. Fan fave, Olaplex. Send help. We are biased. Hair oil. Get it closer so the viewers. Crazy. It matters what you put in your hair and put on your hair. So, out with the old, in with the new. Rejuvenate.
So there were two Monat huns who were putting hair oil on fire, and the Rejuvenate oil, their pricey oil, did not catch fire. And then they asked a couple of weird questions or made some really scientific statements. Just imagine how your hair feels. Do you put your hair on fire? What is your hair supposed to feel? You put a hair oil on your hair. Your hair is dead, except for the root that is right here in your scalp. You're not going to feel anything. Your hair doesn't feel anything. It is already dead. It is rather concerning the amount of misinformation these people will put on social media and actually think they did something that was really, really important. Just imagine how your hair feels. Just imagine how my brain feels at the moment. It is screaming. Not all oils are created equal. It truly matters about the quality of your products. How did we learn anything about the quality of the Rejuvenate oil? Just that it's not flammable. And the other oils where? That doesn't say anything about the quality of the products. I need to calm down. I will calm down. And I will move back to the middle of the screen with my squeaky chair. I had to pitch the audio here as well for copyright reasons because there was music playing in the background, so they don't normally sound like this. But why do the Monat huns have to set everything on fire? I mean, don't light your hair on fire, right? With or without oils. I think that's quite beneficial, and it makes sense, or rather no sense, to claim that if a hair oil lights on fire, then it's bad quality. And if it doesn't, then it's good quality. You also don't style your hair when you lather your oil onto your scalp and then you're going to style it with a curling iron or with a flat iron. You don't do that. It's really just a finisher. So you're also not showing us how your hair would react if you were to treat it after you applied the oil with hot tools. None of this makes any sense. None of this makes any sense at all. But if you're still worried that you might damage your hair with the wrong hair oil because it might be lit on fire when you put it on a Q-tip and when you set it on fire, then worry not, because if this is really important and really worrying for you, I might have just the alternative for you. I'm going to ask Mona now to take over this video and to do the very same experiment, and I asked her to let my hair oil from Kind of Rosy, not sponsored, on fire and see what happens. So Mona, over to you, and don't mess this up, you won't get another chance. Okay, stop. Let's put our hair out of our face first, and then we can light everything on fire. It would be nice. Could you, Mona? Okay. I said I don't want her to mess up again or she doesn't get a second chance, but I don't want her to light on fire either. So Mona, hair out of your face and then do the experiment, please. Thank you. Huh. Odd. It is almost as if not all hair oils catch fire when you try to light them on fire, like mine. which doesn't prove a thing, but if you're worried about that, just letting you know, some hair oils don't catch fire, like mine. It's superior. It's superior to Monat as well because it is organic, it is locally sourced, it is shipped locally, and it's less pricey. A lot less pricey than the stupid Monat hair oil, and it's also not connected to an MLM. It doesn't prove a thing. And it was good to see Mona again, so thank you for doing that. You did better than last time, so I appreciate that. And please have some patience also with Mona, because if you remember her from one of my earlier Hun Science videos, she was in a very popular company, in a very popular MLM that also dealt with hair care products, but she got terminated because that is what the company does at the moment. They terminate people left and right. And I wanted to give her a second chance. So thank you, Mona. I'm glad you were here. And I might let her handle experiments with fire from now on. That's better for me. Yeah, so yay, Mona. Good job. This was Hun Science part 3 or 4. I didn't check. Probably have a good amount of Hun Science video already. And I hope you were entertained by this video because we pretty much learned nothing at all, except that Hun Science is not real science. If you like these types of videos, then please subscribe, share, comment, like. Are there other Hun Science experiments that you have in petto and you would like to share them with me? Then please feel free to do so. I do like these videos for very entertainment purposes, not for actual factual purposes, but I do like them. And if you do like them as well, then please go ahead and share content with me. I would love to make an updated video, another part, because I find them quite entertaining. And if you like these types of videos, then hopefully I will see you in my next one. Maybe again with Mona. Until then, tschüss!